Hello everyone, welcome back to Sai Homeschool. Please like, share and subscribe my channel. Last class we discussed dilution, then concentration solutions, pH scale, what is meant by pH, then importance of pH in our daily life. Next, we'll study from your acids, bases, salts chapter one more about salts. What are salts? Then how these salts will be formation of salts, how it will be taste. As we know already, how we will prepare a salt is how we will prepare. So we already know when acid reacts with a base, we will get a salt that we already studied about reactions, that is, so we'll see how we will be prepared and uses of these salts. What are the salts we use regularly? So what is the famous salt we know is sodium. Which salt we know it is sodium chloride. That is, so here some salts we, if you observe here, potassium sulfate, sodium sulfate, calcium sulfate, magnesium sulfate, copper sulfate, sodium chloride, sodium nitrate, sodium carbonate, and ammonium chloride. So if you observe these salts will be formed because of when acids and bases react to form the salts. So salts having positive and negative radicals means if you take NaCl when reacts with sodium hydroxide when reacts with acid, you will get a Na plus Cl minus. So now, so family of the salts. What are the salts family? If you see is chlorides. One it is chloride family. Then sulfates. Then nitrates. Iodides. Means iodides. Then carbonates and bicarbonates. These are all comes under salt family. So chlorides means any compound which has chlorine is called chloride. Sulfates means any compound which has sulfates. That is, we can take Na2SO4, K2SO4, BaSO4, then nitrates. That is KNO3. We can take iodides, any compound with iodide, that is sodium iodide, barium iodide, potassium iodide we can take. Then carbonates, sodium carbonate, calcium carbonate we can take. Then bicarbonates we can take sodium bicarbonate and calcium bicarbonate. How do you prepare these salts? So we know that salts is one of the product from a chemical reaction, that is when acids and bases reacts we will get a salts. So one it is acid plus base. Salt is one of the product from a chemical reaction. Is it or not? Yes, of course. When the chemical reaction takes place, then we will get a salt. One more thing. Then metals reacts with the acids. We will get a salt. Right, all the chemical reaction we studied for first class and second class, part 1 and part 2 of your acids, bases, salts chapter. That is, so every chemical reaction involved in the formation of salt. Salt is formed when acids reacts with base and some other chemical reactions. If you come under this salts, so we will study three types of salts here. One it is acidic salt, one it is basic salt, one it is neutral. Acidic means we already know that if we test the pH of the salt, pH will be less than 7, means 0 to 7 if it is, then it is a acidic salt. Acidic salt contains, how the acidic salts will be formed means when strong acid, this strong acid reacts with a weak base, then we will get a acidic salt. Base. Then basic salts. Basic salts pH is greater than 7. means when weak acid reacts with a strong base, then we will get a basic salt. Neutral salt. How do neutral salts will be formed is pH of the neutral salt is 7. When strong acid reacts with a strong base, we will get a neutral salts. That is, so if you observe, so there is a salts of strong acid, strong base and neutral with a pH value. So salts of strong acid with a weak base, that is pH less than 7, that is acidic salt. Strong base with a weak acid, that is basic salt. This is important. How do you form acidic salt? Are three types of salts is acidic salt, basic salts and neutral salts. So you should write, you should know one examples of each acidic salt. Acidic salt, what we have to take is strong acid. Strong acid, one of the strong acid is HCl. So HCl with a weak base. So like that you have to take one strong acid. When this strong acid reacts with the, here if you see weak base we can take a sodium hydroxide, NH4OH. What are the salts you will get here is sodium hydroxide is a weak base. When this strong acid reacts with this weak base, you will get a salt, that is sodium chloride, NH4Cl. Always in this salt, one first part you will get it from, so where it is base. Second it is, see here if you observe, NH we are get it from a base, Cl we are get it from a acid. So that is how the strong acidic salts will be formed. If you come to the basic salts, it is a strong base you have to take. Strong base, basic salts, what you will take strong base is NaOH. Then weak acid is H2CO3. You will get a sodium carbonate is a basic salts. Then neutral salts, strong acid and strong base. Strong acid for neutral. Strong acid I will take as usual HCl. Strong acid is HCl you should take. Strong base is NaOH you have to take. You will get a salt, that is called NaCl. As we know that Na sodium hydroxide is a strong base. You will get NaCl. NaCl is a neutral type of neutral salt. It has pH value is equals to 7. Always we know that in the salts, first part we are getting from the base. Second it is from the, this one Cl, it is from acid. That this it contains Na plus and Cl minus. That is about the types of salts here. Very important question. They may ask from this three types of salts. Then if you come to chemical form, then common salts. So how it will happen? Salt will be formed, we know that. See here, hydrochloric acid when reacts with a strong acid with a strong base. In the solution we got the salt is sodium chloride. Reaction we had written here, if you observe, that is common salts. So here we know that the how the salts will be formed. If you observe the picture, how we will get a crystal salt. So Mahatma Gandhi march, did you know sodium chloride was such an important symbol in our struggle of freedom? That is, they ask. Then we will see what are the important compounds which we have seen our everyday life. In that salts, what are the important common salts we will see in our everyday life. This common salts obtained from the important raw materials. We should use the raw material sodium hydroxide, various materials, that is So washing soda, bleaching powder, many. So how these substances used to make all the different substances. So by using these salts, one the common salts thus obtained. So is important raw materials by using these materials means sodium hydroxide, baking soda, washing soda, and bleaching powder. How it will be formed, we will see. If you observe sodium hydroxide. So sodium hydroxide is a aqueous solution. If you have NaOH, it is a white in color. If you know that how this sodium hydroxide will be obtained in the market is, it is a white crystals. Crystals, it is in the sense small pellets like such as we will get. Okay. So we cannot touch this sodium hydroxide pellets with the bare hands. We will get heart burning sensation. How this sodium hydroxide is also known as caustic soda. We will call this one caustic soda. How this will be prepared by using chloralkali process. That is, so how this will be formed by using this experiment, that is chloralkali process. So I will explain this chloralkali process. So what is alkali means? Alkali means base which is soluble in water. Okay. Base which is soluble in water is alkali. Then chlor means here chlorine. We are using. How it will be. So chlorine gas is given off at the anode. See here. So chlorine gas will be evolved at the anode side. Hydrogen gas will be evolved at the cathode side. The products are formed. This process, how it will be obtained. I'll explain you this. So here we are using two rods. Okay. So to prepare this alkali process, we have to take a raw material, sodium chloride, Na. How we will use, we'll see here, NaCl, sodium chloride. You have to take as a raw material, and water it is. You have to dissolve NaCl in the water. Then you have to fit two rods. This one, A. One rod you should be connect to the positive terminal of the battery, that is anode. One rod you should connect it to the negative terminal of the battery. Here we are taking water and NaCl. So when we pass electricity to this, what will happen? So we already know the electrolysis process, that when we pass electricity to that, when the dilution of this Na plus and Cl minus ions, H plus and OH minus ions present in this solution, so these ions helps to conduct electricity. What will happen? It is present at one rod. So chlorine gas will be presented at towards one rod. Then hydrogen gas will be comes out from through the another rod. NaCl will be attached near the down to the rod. So cathode rod is coming to the positive terminal of the batteries. That is, so if we dip in this NaCl, these two rods, if we dip NaCl and H2O solution, when we pass electricity, NaCl breaks down into Na plus and Cl minus, and also H2O also breaks into H plus and OH minus ions. So positive ions, this positive Na plus and H minus ions move towards the cathode. So then negative ions Cl minus and OH minus, these two ions will move towards the anode. So it is chlorine gas is very small. Sorry, it is like mm, quickly it will move towards the anode side and it will get evaporate. H2, it will get hydrogen will be get quickly move towards to the cathode side, then it will get evaporate from this side. So then remaining what we have here is NaOH. So NaOH is attached to the anode and cathode in this it will be here it will be present NaOH. So near the cathode you will get NaOH. So this is how the NaOH is formed when we use raw materials as the sodium chloride and H2O. That we will get NaCl dissolved in water. When it will be dissolved in water, when we pass electricity, process of electrolysis, we will get NaOH plus Cl2 gas and plus H2 gas will be liberated. That is chlor-alkali process. What is the uses of this sodium hydroxide? Sodium hydroxide will be, what are the uses of this sodium hydroxide? We can use sodium hydroxide can be used in the preparation of soaps and degreasing agents for the metals. Degreasing agent as a metals, we will use this sodium hydroxide. Then second one it is bleaching powder. Bleaching powder is also known as, see if you, calcium oxychloride, that is calcium oxychloride. So if you see bleaching powder, what will happen, how it will be produced in the process, it will be also produced during the process of electrolysis in the sodium chloride. So sodium chloride, this chlorine gas is used to manufacture of bleaching powder. Bleaching powder is produced with the action of chlorine on a dry slaked lime. Calcium hydroxide is also called as slaked lime. Now we know that when slaked lime or calcium hydroxide reacts with the chlorine gas that is liberated from this electrolysis process, that it will be reacts with this, we will get a bleaching powder. This is known as calcium oxychloride is known as bleaching powder. They will ask this question. So actual composition it will be little difficult. That is what is, so uses of this bleaching powder is, bleaching powder will be used for bleaching cotton and linen in the textile industry, for bleaching wood, pulp, paper factories, and bleaching washed cloths in laundry. And also it will be used as a oxidizing agents of many chemical industries and drinking water from free from germs. That is, bleaching powder is also used as a disinfectant. All these are the uses of bleaching powder. Then baking soda. How baking soda we will get it? So that is when sodium chloride reacts with water, carbon dioxide and ammonia. When it will be reacts, we will get the ammonium chloride and sodium hydrogen carbonate. Sometimes if we added that baking soda, we also used in a kitchen for some baking soda, it will be used in the bakeries most. So here we can to make pakoras, to get crispiness, we will use this baking soda. This chemical name of this compound is sodium hydrogen carbonate. So they will ask, either they will give chemical name and they will ask the common names of this, or maybe they will give common name and they ask you to write chemical name of Baking soda is sodium hydrogen carbonate. So it is produced using a sodium chloride. The raw materials we use to prepare baking soda is also a NaCl. So did you check pH of sodium hydro? This, do you know the pH of this soda? So we can, why it, so it is neutralize an acid. So we will use this soda because it is a base. So if you take a sodium hydrogen carbonate, if we heat it, what will happen? Again, we will get a sodium carbonate H2O plus water. So it is used for the household. Means it will use kitchen for making tasty crispy pakoras, and also it will be used in a bakery. So uses of baking soda is, it is used to making baking powder, which is a mixture of baking soda and mild edible acid, that is called such as, so which acid they will with added to this sodium hydrogen carbonate, means baking soda and tartaric acid, if we add, we will get a baking powder. So here if you take sodium hydrogen carbonate, when reacts with hydrogen, we will get a CO2 H2O plus sodium salts of acid. So carbon dioxide is produced during the reaction, cause bread and cake are raised to making them to soft and spongy. So that is why we are using baking powder to get bread or maybe cakes and all. We will get spongy and smoothness. We will use this baking soda to make this baking powder. Sodium hydrogen carbonates means, that is baking soda, is also ingredient of antacids. It will be used to neutralize excess of acid in the stomach, and also it will be used soda acid fire extinguishers. That is uses of baking soda. Then washing soda. Washing soda is obtained from sodium chloride. It's see here sodium carbonate when reacts with H2O, you will get a sodium carbonate, that is washing soda 10H2O. This is washing soda. So they will ask chemical formula for the washing soda. You have sodium carbonate can be obtained from eating a baking, obtained by heating baking soda. Recrystallization of this sodium carbonate gives a washing soda. It is also a basic salt. Washing soda is also basic in nature. Sometimes when the people suffering from acidity, we will suggest to take a soda water to neutralize excess of acid. Washing soda, it will be here, if you observe the chemical formula for washing soda, sodium carbonate and sodium hydrogen carbonates are the chemicals used industrial process also. That is washing soda. Sodium carbonate is used, that is washing soda is used in a glass, soap and paper industries, and it is used to manufacture of a compound such as borax, and sodium carbonate can be used to cleaning agent for domestic purpose. So it is used for removing permanent hardness of water. There it contains a acids. So washing soda is also a base. So it will remove the acidity, acids present on that water. That is hardness of water to decrease. We will use this washing soda. If you take this to wash the cloths also, what will happen? You will get more foam when it will be with the soft water. That is here important questions they may ask: chemical name of bleaching powder. Then what are the raw materials used to get sodium hydroxide? So what is the chemical name of bleaching powder? What is the chemical name of baking soda? And what is the chemical formula for washing soda? These are the important things. One simple topic we'll study in the next class. So that is, thank you for watching. Please subscribe my channel.